Okay, I'm going to walk you through the first page of your finance project. I just decided to find a house outside of North Myrtle Beach and Cherry Grove, and Little River, South Carolina came up. So that's what I chose. It was just easier to find a house for me that wasn't in the $1 million. So where would you like to live after you graduate? I just put Little River, South Carolina. What job would you like to have after you graduate? I put teacher, and then I did a search for, I didn't even put beginning salary, I just put average salary for a teacher in Little River, South Carolina. And this is the amount that came up, $52,046. Now, the reason you kind of want to know that is, in reality, the bank will only finance you so much money, okay? So this is what I talked about this in class, but if you had 52,000, if you made 52,046, a good estimate is to multiply that by 3. Okay, but in this day and age, it's really hard to find a house for that amount. So I told you guys could go up to like 350,000. But if whatever job you picked was, let's say, let's say you made $125,000 a year. Well, if you multiply that by 3, then you can look for houses that are more expensive. I just don't want you to find $1 million house if this is all that you're being paid. Okay, so keep it somewhat reasonable, even though $350,000 is a lot of money. But when you start looking at houses, you're going to find that houses are a lot more. Okay, so now you're just going to ignore all that. What you're going to do is find yourself a house wherever it is that you decide that you wanted to live after you graduate. And if it's Knoxville, that's fine. Find an advertisement or a realtor listing for a home you want to buy in your chosen city. Scan the listing and upload it with this paper. The listing should include a picture, a price, and square footage of a house. I happen to pick a new house. Okay, you can get a bigger house, probably with more square footage, if it is an older house, but I wanted a new house, so I found this one. It's not even quite built, because you can tell this is just like a drawing of it, but it's here. It's in Little River, South Carolina. It is it lists for $293,650. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's 1,930 square feet. So what I did was I take this, okay, first of all, location of your home, Little River, South Carolina. It didn't have to be in the same city that I teach. For instance, if you chose Knoxville, that's where you wanted to work, you may want to live in Jefferson City or Lenoir City or Clinton or Powell. Okay, so that's why this is different, okay? But mine happens to be in the same city, all right? The size of the home, meaning your square footage, it's right here. It'll always say that on your listing. So I put 1,930 square feet, and the asking price again was, and it noticed, picture of the house, asking price, square footage. Those are the 3 things that I want to see. I don't care, only one page. This had several pages, but I only want this page with the picture, the price, and the square footage. So the price was $293,650. Okay, so now here's where the figuring comes in. The amount of the down payment. If you read up here, use the 15-year and 30-year fixed mortgage rates to find the following information. Assume that you will pay 2 points at closing, which I'll talk about in a minute, and a 10% down payment. So what you have to do is you find 10% of this. Now, they usually don't make you pay that much, more like 4 or 5 these days, but I just want you to figure it out, okay? So when you do this, you do, of course, there's a shortcut, just moves your decimal one place, but to prove it, 293,650 times 0.10. That's 10% of that. And you'll notice it is $29,365. Make sure that I can read your handwriting. Some of you don't have the nicest handwriting, but that's okay. Just slow down so that I can read it. Okay, so just like on your car, what you're going to do is, we don't need this much money because we had this. That's a big down payment, but anyway. You are going to subtract that amount from that because you don't need the $293,000. So you do $293,650 minus that amount or down payment. And we need an additional $264,285. This is the amount that we are going to use both on the front and on the back side. That amount there. We're not going to use this anymore. We're not going to use this. Okay? Only the loan amount. All right. Amount paid for 2 points. Well, 1 point is 1%. 2 points is 2%. 3 points is 3%. And this is just an additional fee. Well, what it's supposed to do is bring down your interest rate when you pay this. Okay? So let's find out. So we're going to find 2 points. So it's going to be 2% of the loan rate. Okay? So for this number right here, you're going to take $264,285, because that's what you're borrowing from the bank, and this goes to the bank or the lender, times 0.02. So I already have that amount in my calculator, times 0.02. And that's how much more money, in order to get a lower interest rate. I had to look it up what the points was. I know it's a fee. Again, this is a pet peeve of mine. We're talking money. Make sure it's 70 cents. Okay. From here on out, the only thing we're going to deal with is this amount here. This is just an additional fee similar to your down payment. That has nothing to do with the amount of money that we are going to borrow. Okay. I've given you a 30-year mortgage rate. Okay. I really haven't talked about the word mortgage, but what that means is the house loan or the house payment. Okay, it's just what you're borrowing from the bank. Okay. All right, calculate your monthly payment excluding property taxes and fire insurance. That's what the bank does, or the lending company. We're not going to do it. Show the formula and the numbers used in the calculation. All right. You take out this sheet, okay? We are borrowing money. We are finding a loan. So you are going to use the loan payment formula. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down what that loan formula is. PMT stands for our payment, equals, we have P, which is our principal, times RN, another bracket, all over, beginning brackets, 1 minus, beginning parentheses, 1 plus, R over N, raised to the negative N times T. Okay, now it's just a matter of filling in what we know, all these letters. Okay, so remember, principal, that is the big chunk of money that we're borrowing, or if we were putting it in a savings account. Okay, in this case, it's this amount, that amount there, the amount that you are borrowing, which is called your loan or your mortgage. Okay, so now I'm just going to fill it in. $264,285 times my rate, which the rate is this, but I'm going to change it to a decimal, move it 2 places. So I'm going to use 0.03671 over my N, seeing it's monthly. Our N is equal to 12 because there's 12 months in a year. N is always the number of payments that you're going to make in a year. So this is over 12, ending parentheses, ending brackets, all over beginning brackets, 1 minus, beginning parenthesis, 1 plus, my rate again, which is 0.03671 over my N, which is 12, raised to the negative 12, times our time, which in this case, it is a 30-year mortgage, so it's times 30, ending bracket. Okay. Now that you have that, it's a matter of using your calculator and using it correctly. If you can do it all in one step, then do it all in one step. If you can't, if you know you're going to have trouble, and I'm going to show that first, okay? By the way, these brackets, you do not use brackets when figuring it up. You have to use parentheses, okay? I'm going to go ahead and do, so I'm going to make a beginning parenthesis, 264,285 times beginning parenthesis, 0.03671 divided by 12, and you can't see that. And let's put it right there. Okay, so I typed it in just like you see. All right, I didn't use a fraction because not everybody has that fraction key. If you do, this makes it easier, but it's okay. I'm showing you how it works if it does. And so here's the thing. Write down everything you see on your calculator. 808.4918625. Don't round. This is already rounded here because it really goes on forever. Your calculator just doesn't hold that many numbers, okay? Now we're going to do the bottom. Now if you have an older calculator, I would do this first. That's going to give us negative 360. So, beginning parentheses, 1 minus, beginning parenthesis, 1 plus, 0.03671 divided by 12, ending parenthesis, raised to the negative 60 power, and then I'm going to end my bracket. Okay, you can tell these brackets are bigger than these, or these parentheses are bigger than these parentheses, and it kind of, I don't know, but that tells you that this one goes with that. Okay, hit enter. Again, write down that whole number that you see. 0.66700200341. Now, type in this whole thing divided by this whole thing. In my particular calculator, I can highlight it. But even if I didn't, you just type it all in. Okay? Just for time purposes, I'm doing it that way. And that gives me a monthly payment of, whoops, let me put that right there, equals $1,212.13. Okay? That's going to round that 2 to a 3, that 8 is. Okay, that goes right here, $1,212.13. Okay? All right. The next thing, oh, by the way, let me go ahead and show you how to do it using your fraction key. Second, y equals 1. And I have a hard time with this. It takes me longer to do it this way than what I just did. But, okay. 264,285 times beginning parentheses second y equals 1.03671 divided by 12 ending parentheses. And I forgot to do I should have started it with parentheses, so I'm going to go back and insert it. To insert it right there, it's INS, so I hit second insert and then there. Okay. Now, I have the whole thing up top here. Now on the bottom, I've got to get my cursor back down there. Beginning parenthesis, 1 minus beginning parenthesis, 1 plus 0.0367. Oh, you know what I didn't do? See, I told you I'm not very good at this. Forgot to hit my fraction key because I'm not used to using a fraction key. Okay. Alpha y equals 1. There we go. 0.03671 divided by 12. Ending parenthesis. And you can, because it's one of these calculators, you can put negative 12 times 30. Use your right arrow key to drop it down. Ending parenthesis. When I hit enter, it should give me the same answer. And it did, thank goodness. Okay, now, calculate the total amount paid over the life of the loan. Okay, this also will be, and we'll talk about this, amount you pay towards your mortgage. Basically, what it's asking is, what are you going to pay the bank? All right, you borrowed this much money. Well, how much do you have to pay the bank back? Now, don't use this amount right here. Oops, as I just, there we go, that amount. Because we are going to use this amount. That way everybody's doing it the same way. 0.13. It would throw, it's not going to be that big a deal, but it'll throw it off a couple dollars or a couple pennies. We're going to make this amount payment, we're going to make this payment 12 times a year for 30 years. So I'm going to retype this in, $1,012.13 times 12 times 30. And I get that amount. That's the amount that I'm going to pay back the bank. $436,366 and not 0.8 but 80 cents. So see the difference here and here? This is how much I needed to pay for the house. I needed to borrow to pay for my house. And this is how much I paid the bank back. Now, you might want to, why the difference? It's because it's called interest. The bank is going to charge you for using their money. All right, so you are going to, if I asked you how much interest you were paying, you would take that amount and you would subtract how much you borrowed. You borrowed $264,285. So the bank made $172,081.80 in interest off of you. Okay. Okay, so that's how you find a 30-year mortgage. Now on the back side, or your monthly payment for the 30, on the back side you're going to change to a 15-year mortgage. Also your interest rate, everything's going to be the same except for your interest rate changes, and this 30 is going to change to a 15. So different interest rate, and now it's a 15-year mortgage. And then you're going to fill this out the exact same way. Okay.